Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in and welcome. Listen up. I can give you hundreds of different reasons why silver will be profitable over the next 5, 10 years, and honestly can't give you a reason why it won't. I can also give you hundreds of different reasons why stocks won't be profitable over the next 5, 10 years, and honestly can't give you a reason why it would. If you are investing, you have to understand economics. You got to understand what's affecting the market, where prices are headed, and why. Just like if you're investing into real estate, if you're going to look at a property, you got to look at the environment around it. Are they building schools, tearing schools down? Building shopping centers, tearing them down? Because that will show you when you go to sell that house in the future if the property value will be rising or lowering, right? Same principle follows with precious metals. Silver demand is rising. 5G, electric vehicles, solar panels. Joe Biden's green energy revolution. Silver is going to be booming. They need silver, especially as we advance technologically. So silver demand is rising. The production, though, has been getting cut back. So silver's pretty scarce. That's why you're seeing these high premiums on American Eagles. You're paying $15, $20 over spot for a coin that throughout history has been pegged to spot price. And that is the first sign of consequence from a silver shortage. So if you're going to sit here and tell me that silver is risky or there's a good chance that it's not going to rise in the near future, then you really just don't understand how things work. And I'm not saying that from a cocky point of view. I'm not saying that from a biased point of view, from a silver pumper point of view. It's literally just how things are. And let me break it down for you. The dollar index is directly correlated to gold and silver. Directly correlated. That means that whatever the dollar does, silver does, but the exact opposite. Now, the dollar's strength is obviously on its last leg. It's very shaky. We're $27 trillion in debt. When we throw out this stimulus, trillions of dollars, they're going to have to print more money to keep up with that, hurting the dollar. So that means the dollar will be down. And like I said, is directly correlated. So if the dollar's down, gold and silver will be up. But that's not that's not a surefire way to say prices will be up for the next 5, 10 years, because that could be short-lived. But here's the thing. Once that price gets up there, the prices will hold because of the demand side. Silver's an industrial metal. Gold isn't. Gold is used for necklace, jewelry, earrings, stuff like that, watches. Silver, being the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity, is used in everything. So silver is going to keep, it's going to keep, it's ingrained into the economy, to put it like that. Now, when trillions of dollars get thrown out, especially if McKinsey's talking about this $10 trillion repair plan to save the world, the dollar won't last. I'm not going to say it's going to crash, but sooner than later it will. If you want an idea of where we're headed, look at third world countries. It's just going to take longer for us because we're more wealthy. And by the way, the only reason we're more wealthy, the only reason America's the richest or the wealthiest country, period, is because we own the most gold. Isn't that ironic that we're comparing wealth to who owns the most gold? Let's put that to individual perspective. That means you're telling me that if I have $20,000 in my bank account, but I have, 200-300 ounces of silver, that means that I'm more wealthy than someone that has $50,000. That's how they're looking at it from a country to country perspective. So why not apply that to individual? And it's the same thing. It makes sense because over time that $50,000 that person has, if they hold it there, which they most likely will, it's just going to dwindle in what you can buy with it. It's going to dwindle in purchasing power. So next year is going to be interesting. Very, very interesting, to say the least. Not only is the pandemic getting worse, but people have this euphoric hope that there's going to be a vaccine, which also already affected the markets. But it was short-lived. once people found out that this Pfizer 90% effective vaccine actually was there was a lot of small fine print that people overlooked just because they saw the title. Only 50 million doses going out to the public, and it's a preventative vaccine, and also it's going to be hard to distribute and transport. So that's far ahead. And in between that time from when it actually does happen, things are going to get a lot worse. So yes, we have a different president. I know there's a lot of people more hopeful, but very bad times are coming. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that to get you prepared, because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it's going to happen. Whether you want to believe it, whether you want to sweep it under a rug, whether you want to believe it's not true, it's going to happen regardless. So you might as well accept it and do something about it, because if you don't, then you're going to be the one getting hit the hardest. I promise you that. People say, oh, the government will handle it. Oh, that's just conspiracy. Oh, that's highly unlikely that will happen. And those people have done no research. They don't know anything. They're just saying that out of pure belief with no fact to prove it. And those people are the ones that are at risk the most. People like you and I, anyone who's watching this video, even if you've watched this 6 minutes and 30 seconds into this video so far, you already have more information than 99% of the economy, of the society. And that's the truth, right? I've already told you guys probably 30 different reasons why you need to be investing and what's happening and what's about to happen. Most people don't know any of this. Most people don't even know America's in debt. Most people don't even know the dollar is hurt. Most people think the dollar is probably gaining strength, that America's getting richer. They don't understand how this works. When we're throwing trillions of dollars of money out in the economy, that's great and all, right? A quick buck is great, but that money's coming from somewhere, right? There's going to be a cost to pay. So it's great to get this paycheck, but at what cost? I definitely think in the long-term perspective, it's the pros and the cons, from a pros and cons chart, there's going to be a lot more cons than pros. And we can actually, like I said in the beginning of this video, I can name hundreds of reasons why silver will be profitable and stocks won't. So let's talk about that. Stock markets are pegged to the dollar, right? They're pegged to the dollar. When the dollar's hurt, stocks go down. You can see a very direct chart. And that's why governments want you to invest in the stocks. They want you to invest into and take loans and get debt and just accumulate stuff that has to do with the dollar. Because the more you're using the dollar, the more you're attached to it. And the more, when you're in debt, you're a slave to the system. So they're going to try to push things along you in fiat form to control you. It's a control move. But also, not only that, when you invest in the gold and silver, when you transfer your money out of fiat on APMEX and click buy, and it comes out of your debit card and goes into gold and silver, and it arrives at your doorstep, you have taken the power away from them and you've put it into your own hands. Now you are in complete control of your wealth. If you cannot hold it, you do not own it. So that doesn't mean ETFs are the same thing or the same principle. It really isn't. Now, a lot of people think that silver or precious metals in general is the rebellious quote-unquote investment, because it does go against the grain. It definitely does. But that's not a bad thing. It goes against the grain for the right reasons. So does Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is actually becoming something that it has a lot of potential. And I'm not saying that because, here, I've invested into both silver and Bitcoin for several years. So I'm not coming from a biased perspective. I'm looking at this realistically, and I understand how both markets work. Bitcoin goes against the grain in a similar manner that precious metals do, meaning that you are in complete control of your wealth. The government doesn't own it. There's no bank of Bitcoin, right? There's no Bitcoin police. You're in complete control. When your money's in that cold wallet, you're in control of that. If someone steals it or gets hacked, that's up to you. You can't file a claim, with the bank of Bitcoin. So, knowing that, you can see why governments are going to try to make it seem like precious metals are a bad investment, because they don't want you to invest into it. They want you to invest in the stocks and things that are, on their side of the fence. that's terrible though, because you're misleading. You're giving people uh, a, a a a very distorted perspective because they know the dollar's hurting. They know that precious metals. I mean, look at them. They go off. They literally they they gauge their wealth on how much gold they have. So they know this. They know all this information I'm talking about, but they're still not going to tell you it. They're going to portray it as distorted, as delusional, because they want you to use the dollar. The dollar is literally only as valuable as people think it is. So if people start to think it's not valuable, it literally isn't valuable. That's why countries are opting out of the USD being the reserve currency, the world's reserve currency. And that's dangerous because that means everyone across the world relies on the strength of the dollar, but the dollar's strength is plummeting, especially from this pandemic. This whole pandemic has has sped things up times 10, right? This was all going to happen, later down the line, but this pandemic just made it happen like fast forward. And that's scary because a lot of people weren't prepared. We were getting prepared, but a lot of people, this came too fast and they're not ready and they're panicking and they're freaking out. And you can see that in the markets. There's a lot of instability, unstable markets because it's an unstable economy. You can see it directly into the markets, and you can get a good gauge on where markets are heading by thinking about how other people think. That's why I was so successful with Bitcoin. Because when there's a market that's based off speculation, how other people invest or how the majority of people invest, buying or selling, you got to look at how people think or how people feel. If people are very skittish, very skeptical, not uncertain, you're going to see a lot of wishy-washy, a lot of bipolar movement because people are making left decisions, right decision, rational, irrational, right? And the markets are all over the place. When things settle down next year, we're going to get a better direction on where precious metals will be, but I can guarantee it's probably going to be looking upwards because by then, hopefully people will understand how dire the situation is, how severe it is. And if they don't, then those people are going to be screwed to the utmost degree, and we're going to be the ones profiting. But as a human being, as someone who generally, I'm not greedy, it's not all about money, right? If it was all about money, I would say screw those people, it's more silver for me. But it's really not. I want as many people as I can to get on the precious metals train to protect their wealth, because the end goal is financial freedom, right? These people that are keeping their money solely in bank accounts are letting their money just rot away and they don't even know it. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I just want to make this quick video, just sharing my thoughts on everything. There's a lot going on, and I tried to wrap up everything in one small package video. So you could send this video to friends, family, whoever. And this video basically summarizes everything that's happening and everything that's going on and why you should invest in the gold and silver, right? If you have a friend that's investing in the stocks or whatever, or someone who's kind of on the fence with silver, send them this video, and I promise you, by the time they reach this part of the video, they'll probably be convinced. I hope so. If you've listened to all this information that I just said and you still are on the fence, then you shouldn't be investing, because that just means you are way too skittish, way too skeptical for your own good. And I don't say that in a mean way. It's just there's too much evidence. It's too blatantly obvious, right? And I'm sure you guys all know that. That's why we are silver stackers, right? Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. Smash that like button, subscribe. You gotta subscribe. I post daily videos, 2-3 videos a day. Go check out the video I posted earlier today. It's good stuff. You cannot be blindly investing into these markets. You have to be tuning in on a daily basis, because so much can change in one day. And I'll give you guys the scoop. I'll keep you guys in the loop. I promise you that. So you got to subscribe. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.